Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network, online at www.mybcsn.net, and on the BCSN app, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together we can be the change.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Ryan Polk.
Yeah.
I love my HBCU, and boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU, and man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, yes sir.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, bringing you the show. Charles Bishop is on assignment. Man, y'all ain't gonna believe this, man. Charles done cut out on the team because he allegedly, well, he did. He got retirement tickets from his mom to go see the Astros in Atlanta. Houston Astros and Atlanta Braves. Can you believe he stood us up for that guy?
Oh, I can. Oh, I can.
Man, I don't know about y'all. I see y'all got y'all little paraphernalia on, but we're going to do it big. We're going to talk about this HBCU sports. As y'all see, we have guests in here, so we're going to get it on. We have George Anthony, B.J. Jones, better known as B.J. Jones, the football analyst, Mike Washington. My teammate here, as he always gets it done. You all know George Anthony is GIE, swagging the food, giving it to you, B.J. Jones, as he does this show, and Mike Washington from Sports, 1876 Sports and Culture, I should say. With that being said, welcome to episode 198 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports from institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. As we said, Charles out on assignment, actually playing hooky, as I told y'all. But I got my two guests. We're going to get it in. A little bit of that Southern Alcorn rivalry. Yeah, we're going to get it in the mix. We're going to see what they say about it today. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOA 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. We'll save that niche match, if you would, for the second half of the show. But with that being said, Mike, how you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm pretty good, man. Not bad. It's Taco Tuesday. Astros getting ready to whoop Braves. It's all good. I look at the football whisperer, B.J. Jones, and he cringing.
Let's go to you. B.J. Jones, how you doing?
Yeah, Mike enjoyed Taco Tuesday a little bit too much in the sound like it. It's all about the A tonight, man. It's all about the A.
Man, well, you know, we talk about that A. We got another A right outside of us, right over there.
Big A.
The big A. What's up?
Big
How you
A.
doing, George?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Ready for the weekend.
Oh man, did you say that? He gonna start off hot on the show. He said he's ready for the weekend already. With that being said, let's get into it a little bit. With that is the case, THG episode of Inside HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, let me go to you, Mike. What's some news of the day? What do you got hot and heavy? I think might know where you're going, but go ahead, do your thing.
Where am I going, Doc? Where am I going? Where am I going?
Commissioner?
That's right. Miss Steele, if you're nasty. Sonya Steele, named commissioner of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. So after this comprehensive review, after cussing and discussing competitive national search by some firm called the Parker Executive Search Firm, the men of presidents and chancellors announced Sonya Mills as the counselor effective January 1. So she becomes the first female commissioner in MEAC and HBCU D1 history. Congratulations, hats off, but got a funny and a sneaky suspicion that there may be some folks in the MEAC that may not be happy with that decision. But nevertheless, congratulations to Ms. Steele. Of course, there are all kinds of congratulatory statements on behalf of MEAC institutions, presidents, and chancellors. I am thrilled to welcome Ms. Steele as our next commissioner. This is according to Johnson O. Akinle, PhD, Chancellor of North Carolina Central University and Chair of the MEAC Presidents and Chancellors Council. So she has an extensive portfolio. She has served the MEAC for 19 years. So she does deserve a shot. But as I said, I got a funny feeling and a sneaky suspicion. There may be some folks who may not be on par with this, but nevertheless, congratulations to Miss Sonya Steele.
DJ Jones, D. Anthony, man, they won't even let her get the ink dry on the contract and announcement before they already question what's wrong with these people.
Oh, man.
Already.
Already.
You know how we do.
No doubt. I see, man. Y'all ain't even right. Let me go to BJ Jones. What are some other hot topics out there in your opinion? What's going on in HBCU land? What you want to talk about?
I mean, Division II regional rankings. We give a lot of love to the SWAC and the MEAC, but the Division II regional rankings were put out, and these are the rankings that determines who makes a Division II playoffs. And much to our surprise, if the playoffs were to start today, we would have two HBCUs, one from the SIAC and one from the CIAA. In those playoffs, Albany State sitting right now in the 3 spot, and Bowie State sitting right now there in the 2 spot. And then in the top 10, you got Fayetteville State sitting right at number 10. So 3 HBCUs in the top 10 regional rankings in Division II football. I thought was a great news day and something positive to see, because we've seen the SIAC get left out of the playoffs 2 of the last 3 seasons. So this is big for that league as well.
Absolutely.
And I like the way that you brought up that Division II football and you put the spotlight on Bowie State as well as Albany State, rightfully so. Fascinating when you think about it. We were last Sunday, we had an interview with the Bowie State head football coach. And we talked about setting up a matchup between the two. Well, if we're not careful, it might happen in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of nice, neutral type matchup. With that being said, let me go to you, G. Anthony, what news you want to bring to the table today?
I really want to piggyback just off what DJ said. I'm really impressed with Bowie State. I'm really impressed with Bowie State. I got them as number 1 best team down there right now. So I'm just really impressed with Bowie State. Really impressed with Bowie State.
Yeah, Coach Wilson got it going on. They look really sharp in terms of what they're doing. on the defensive side of the ball. But then offensively, when time requires it, they can score. They have a shot. You know, it might be a little bit outside, but they have a shot, especially if they went out to be a number 1 seed, at least a number 2 seed throughout the playoffs. And we know in the playoff land, home field advantage goes a long way.
They will win out.
I think they're gonna get it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I just said I think I get that number 1 spot. I got them, in my opinion, get that number 1 spot throughout the playoffs. I'm drinking all the buoy juice right now. All the buoy.
Okay.
Mike, you were gonna jump in there and say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, fast forward back to week 1, there were people already jumping off the Bowie State cliff when they lost to Delaware State. What happened to Bowie State? What happened? All of a sudden they rattle off 6, 7 straight. Now we drinking the Bowie State Kool-Aid again. Some of us never got off. We said, hey, RELAX, relax. It's Bowie State. They have that championship pedigree. And here they are. 2 or 3 games, they will win out unless they have a colossal mess up. And I totally agree with what's been said. They will have a top ranking spot.
I like it. I thought a lot of folks really thought it would come to the end when they saw the score that Shawan posted before they played them, and they like shut them down. What did they put up 70-some points? And everybody's like, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? And everybody's like, what is Shawan? It was representing the CIAA. Does it work? Like we say, y'all worry about the wrong thing.
Shawan ain't been the same Shawan these last couple of weeks.
Exactly. That ain't the same. That ain't your mom and daddy's Shawan.
With that being said, I'm gonna go off the page a little bit. I want to see what each of your thoughts on this. Could rugby be the next big thing at HBCU? From InsideHook.com, James G. Robinson and Clive Sullivan, RSRF HBCU Rugby Initiative, has a 3-year plan under which it intends to establish and help fund men's and women's rugby union teams at Howard, Morgan State, Bowie State, and University of the District of Columbia. Funding is donor-driven by corporate involvement and SALT in an initial year. The pilot program will develop a men's and women's team at Howard, so men's and women's. I thought that was fascinating in terms of Title IX, which certainly helps. First year, establish a men's and women's program within Howard University Athletic Department. Register as a Division I team with National Intercollegiate Rugby Association, better known as NIRA. Provide partial funding for both Howard teams. Provide Howard with the USA Rugby certified coaches. Recruit international students for years 22 and 23 for the school year there. Develop partnerships and etc. Year 2, you bring in Morgan State's athletic department and you do the same thing, men's and women's in terms of Morgan State. You provide partial funding not only for Morgan, but continue to do it for Howard. And you obviously have Morgan State look at joining USA Rugby certified as Division I. Year 3 is when they dip down into the Division II ranks and pull up Bowie State and UDC Division II teams at the NIA level. And again, they're talking about providing the funding, which I think makes this a little more unique. How much they can do that, we'll have to see. I'm going to go to you, Mike, first, because you're familiar with the fact that Prairie View, many people do not realize, has a rugby team. Obviously, it's intramural, but they've been doing it for a while and actually traveled, came back, played championships, been pretty good on the intramural side. So it's fascinating to see somebody has put that on the table. Mike, what do you say about this?
Yeah, I think it's possible. There are a couple of ifs. You talk about Prairie View's program and their intramural program, which travels. The other thing is that the national program in India has played there on several times and garnered attention to people, minorities, really people of color. So I think a large part of it depends on corporate donation, sponsorship, exposure, but obviously reaching out to minorities. If you live overseas, you look at some of the rugby teams, they are people who look like the people on this set. You know, they are very, very diverse teams. And what's happened to Prairie View is you have a very diverse team that is attracting more and more folks, including one of the national teams from India, which practices there. So I think it has a chance to garner. I just say that with a caveat that we have to garner that with reaching out to some of the minority folks that really have an interest in this. And I think really going through the HBCU route really is more benefit to the sport than it is to larger institutions. Just because if you go internationally, you see who's involved in the sport outside of Australia, you see who's involved in that sport. So I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's a big deal. I think it's good for HBCUs as well.
D. Anthony, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think
rugby man, you get out there, you put on one of them helmets, you do some rugby. Could you cheer for the
I
rugby?
might be able to do that. I think it's gonna help though, like bringing in minority style school, like you said. I think that's a good way just to bring more into our culture, get it into our culture. We don't really have that in our culture right now, so it'll be something new and fresh that HBCUs can kind of say, look, we have this, and it's more to offer to the students. You know, bringing in more minorities. So I like the ideas, fresh, new things that we bring into the conference. So I like
the way you say talking about bringing it into the culture perspective and bringing the HBCU experience to rugby. That should be fascinating. Great point you make there. BJ Jones, I'm gonna close on you on this segment. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of G on this one. I think that is something that's great. I think not only do you broaden our horizons as far as the students that we're able to grab with the net, bringing in more international students, which helps all of us a lot. And then you also help grow the sport of rugby. I mean, I think most of us have seen it, late night on ESPN and like, okay, wow, look what's going on there. But if you look at rugby and sports like lacrosse, these sports are gaining numbers. Across the nation, and this is a great time to get on it while it's in basically in the infancy stages. So yeah, I definitely like the idea.
Good points. This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Into the first quarter, we'll be right back after this quick break. Stick with us, Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Guesting on the show, co-hosting today is none other than G. Anthony, BJ Jones. Bringing it like they do, G. Anthony of Swaggin' Foods, BJ Jones of the BJ Jones Show. Let's get it. We'll be right back after this break because now we're going to have the poll rankings. We're going to see if these folks get an invite back.
Here we go. Here we go with the polls.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place. A space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. It's the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
We're gonna teach that lesson today with the professors. I got the adjunct professors in the house. G. Anthony, you ready to do some adjunct professor? You ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm ready.
DJ Jones, you've been at it for a while. We might bring you up to visiting professor. You know, you put a little more money in your pocket. You know how we do it.
There we go.
Before we get into, you good?
Yeah.
You say you good with a little extra money anytime. I understand. And then we got the old head back here, Professor, you know, visiting clinical Professor Mike Washington. You know, he do what he do. He try to get into the numbers and let y'all know what he thinks. Let me get a shout out first before we go any further to the lab listeners in here, getting into us, checking us out, always bringing it hot and heavy. I know they got a lot to talk about. Hey, Aggies are in the house. They didn't let us down. I see that Jamie Walker and Shawan fell completely off.
I'm surprised they showed up.
Karen Griffin said, I listened to the game. Yeah, they showed up. Go ahead. It's in the house as always. George Suggs, Chad Cooper, Ricky Burton, Roosevelt Huggins is checking us out. Fred Whitted, doing what he always does. Frank E. Burns Jr. Noel Price is on here, doing what he does. Sarah Beverly. Wildmeyer, Will, Marshall, and Sincere. I hope I said that last name right. G. Boom Holly, Brother Byron Gautier, President of Alpha Eta Lambda. I see it. Must be homecoming week somewhere around the place. The Rattlers sneaking around the chicken coop. Watch him. Lonnie Shaw, Happy G-Ho, because other home at A&T said, yeah, they going to be out. It's homecoming. Y'all can say what y'all want. A&T say they going to do what they do. The vaccine or not, all the folks with the cars over there, they say we coming to our homecoming. Mike, don't shake your head. Now you got y'all. They told y'all to stay away at Prairie View too.
Yeah.
Well, at the tailgate. Let me get that straight for people coming here and saying Cavil said no, I did not say that. But before we get into the poll ranking, you know I'm teasing y'all a little bit. Let me go into this SWAC Football Weekly honors and just give it out there. You know, we had Florida A&M's Isaiah Land, Ja Moraine, Shared in terms of the SWAC, as well as Shador Sanders continues to get it done. That's Jack and say Malachi Weidman. So in terms of the MEAC, you had Davius Richard of the MEAC Football Offensive Player of the Week, presented by Coca-Cola, getting it done. North Carolina Central linebacker Noah Rainbow Douglas. Man, that's a heck of a name right there.
Yeah.
And Christian Ruffin getting it done in so many different ways. Let me get into the poll ranking mid-major division. Mid-range has been pretty solid, but I will tell you this week, we do have some mix-ups in the top 5, as you imagine. Let's see if anybody falls out, see what your thoughts on this. Somebody did drop out of the polls this week. We have dropping out of the polls this week is Kentucky State, Thoroughbreds, 4-4, 2-2. Miles Golden Bears, just when we thought we could put the dirt on top of them, they raised up and said, not so fast. They say the trash talking on Twitter for Miles over Kentucky Thoroughbred was next level. And so they go to spoils when you do that. 10, Virginia, the Panthers dropped 2 spots after the tough loss to Bowie State. Thought there maybe be something there, but not really. Bowie does what they do. The Bulldogs get it done. 4-4 on the season, 3-2 in terms of the conference race. CIAA at number 9, the Miles Golden Bears, 4-4, 3-0. They were not ranked, but because of the big win over Kentucky State, they jumped into the poll, jump in all the way at number 9. And number 8, Lane Dragons, 5-3, 2-2. They rebound a little bit, so they move up 2 spots as they continue to play around and see what they can do maybe to ruin somebody's season. They got one of those homegoing awards with the cigar smoke, as we talk about. Slowburnwaco.com, as they do it. Tuskegee couldn't get it done for homecoming. And number 7, Fort Valley State Wildcats, 5-3, 3-1, quietly getting it done. They set up a big weekend this week for a top 10 matchup. We'll talk a little bit about that. They do move up 2 spots from number 9. And number 6 finish off the bottom 5 teams. The Shaw Bears, 5-3, 4-1, 54 points. Probably surprised a lot of folks. Stuff right there, but couldn't quite get it done. Fayetteville State, but they're in the 6th spot. Let's go into the top 5 to see what everybody says about the cream of the crop. You have Savannah State Tigers. They got shut out, but they don't drop out of the top 5. 6-2, 4-1, 68 points at this point. They fall 2 spots, bringing us to number 4, Fayetteville State Broncos. Looks like they on a collision course for the CIAA championship, 6-1, 5-0 in that Southern Division. A lot of folks are not going in there. 74 point. At number 3, you have Albany State Golden Rams, 71-4-0, as Albany State made a statement, shutting out Savannah State. We just talked about regional rankings and where they are, trying to get it done to see if they can get a couple of home games, or a home game, if I should say, in Division II playoffs. Obviously, you got to make it first, 79 points, but they're in that spot. Moving up one spot. At number 2, you have Bowie State Bulldogs, 7-1-5-0, 4 first place votes, 82 points. They just continue to do what they do. Not a lot to be said there. Bringing us to Langston Lions, 7-0, 6-0. They make a statement. They go to Arizona, play a previous undefeated NIA program, top 10 program, and they get it done. Classic game, 44-41. Shut them down. Big time plays made in that game for a big time program. Maintaining the number 1 spot for the 7th straight week is the Langston Lions. Let me go to you, BJ Jones, first off the cuff. What do you talk about the mid-major poll rankings? What do you have to say?
Oh man, the biggest thing is Savannah State stayed in the top 5. You know, they had that game with Albany State, went on the road. I mean, Albany State is amazing this year. If you have not seen the Golden Rams from Albany State play defensively, they are solid. They've shut down everybody. There's no scoring on Albany State. And the way that they took Savannah State apart, like, wow. They're the real deal. Nice to see Langston right there sitting at the top. They're quietly doing their business in the NAIA. And Bowie State just keeps trucking on along. Like Mike said, the Delaware State game, everybody was like, hey, maybe it's over with for Bowie. Maybe it's over with. Bowie's not going anywhere. And I would love to see Bowie and Albany State link up somewhere, hopefully deep in the playoffs. Hopefully it's deep in the playoffs. But yeah, that'll be a heck of a game right there.
They need to link up sometime soon, no doubt about it, as Charles Bishop would say. Let me go to G. Anthony. First time to get on here and talk about the poll rankings. Be careful, watch yourself. No, seriously, what you got to say, mid-major poll rankings? What do you think?
I'm with BJ. I love the Albany State defense. Like I said earlier, I'm drinking that Bowie State. I'm drinking that Bowie State juice. I love the way they handle adversity. Losing their first game, they came back with on their mind. I think they kind of got them right. So I love Bowie State right there. Langston looking good. So I can see why Langston's number 1. They're looking real good. But again, I'm drinking that Bowie State juice, the Kool-Aid, Bowie State. I'm loving Bowie State right now.
Hey man, you got a point. When you talk about Bowie State, they keep doing what they're doing, and then they got a chance to play a top 5 team if things play out the way it is in terms of Fayetteville State. So you get a chance to make a statement, much like you see Albany State. So it's going to go down in terms of who holds on to it. It may be one of those cases of who goes deepest in the playoffs will ultimately come out on top. With that being said, Mike, what do you think in terms of the top 10 poll ranking?
Well, first of all, Albany, as my in-laws would tell me, Albany is as average. They are number 1 in the defense in the SIAC. They are listed as number 7th or 8th in offense, but that's a statistical anomaly because I went back and looked at all their games. If you take that one game against State and put it out, they are the top scoring offense in the SIAC. Valdosta State, top team, you can throw that one out. So, that's an anomaly. So they are as advertised. Langston keeps rolling. I said when they beat Texas Wesleyan, they basically faced finally an opponent that was worth it. Then they travel on the road to Arizona. But I'm just here to tell you, I think Albany State is now the number 1 team. Langston, I'm going by strength. If you go strength of schedule, you look and see how they match up in the numbers. You can't say it because they play in 2 different conferences and they don't play like-minded opponents. But I say Albany State is a number 1 team. I had a relative say they took Savannah State's heart. Happened. In a lot of ways it looked like it. So you got some points.
They took their heart.
and Savannah State was a top 5 team. I don't know how they stayed in the top 5 with that one, but that's neither here nor there. I'm scratching my head.
Yeah.
But hey, Albany State is for real, and Bowie State. I've been saying this for. Don't jump off the cliff. Relax. It's one game. It's Delaware State. Relax. And now we see the real Bowie State. They're back in the fray. They are as advertised as well. They just reload.
Yeah, they do that, and they reload really well. Usually, Mike, you don't agree with me. I like to shut off your mic, but I think you made excellent points today. So I'm gonna let you make it. Let's go to the major.
He will shut off your mic.
It might get a little more interesting. Not really. It seems like the people have settled down. Y'all got all excited about the poll rankings early in the season. I told you, it's week to week. It will settle out as it plays out in the field. Now you see it churning and not so much. And now y'all are like, see, doctor didn't know what he's talking about. I tried to tell y'all. Did have some teams drop out of the bottom part of the major division poll rankings, and you'll see that because the inconsistency is at that 8, 9, 10 position. Dropping out this week was North Carolina A&T State Aggies, 3-4, 2-2. They lost a tough one on the road to Hampton, and so now they're on a 2-game losing streak. Southern Jaguars, 3-4, 2-2, got took apart for their homecoming, another homegoing situation. And now that's 2 losses in 3 weeks. So you see why they fell out after they thought they may have righted the ship. They have a major part of their schedule to come, but we'll talk about that a little bit later to see what goes on. So 10, Grambling State Tigers, 3-4, 2-2 overall. They found a way to jump in the poll. They did win their last game, was over Texas Southern. And number 9, you have South Carolina State Bulldogs, 3-4, 2-0, 21 points. They were not ranked as well. They won 2 straight in the MEAC. Here comes the Bulldogs from the MEAC. We shall see. At number 8, you have the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, 3-3, 1-3. They were off last week. But with the losses of everybody else, amazingly, they move up in the poll 2 spots, 100, but they have that big game against number 7, setting up a 7-8 matchup with Alabama State in the Magic City Classic, 3-3, 2-2 on the season. They also move up 2 spots. Bringing us to number 6, Tennessee State Tigers took that tough loss to Grambling early in the season, but they're rolling now. Who would have thought this? 4-3, 2-1. They're getting it done, 54 points there, moving up a spot for number 7. As we move into the top 5, the Braves, Alcorn State, getting it done, 5-2, 4-0, 61. I see somebody smiling about that. Number 4, Norfolk State Spartan, 5-2, 1-0, 74 points. Everybody wanted to bury the Braves very early, but look at them now. They hovering around that chicken coop. You better be careful. They are champions. And number 3, Florida A&M Rattlers, 5-2, 4-1, 89. They found what it means to come to Mississippi in that Delta. If you're not careful, they'll get you. But they found a way to get it done. The number 2, Prairie A&M Panthers, 6-1, 5-0. It looks like they finally got a defense, and BJ Jones says, they'll hit you back now. They used to take them licks and wouldn't get off the ground. Well, times have changed in Texas. Are they learning how to play some football over here? I think so. At 6 points. At number 1, Jackson State Tigers, 6-1, 4-0. They just keep churning, lose the coach. They put the system in there. They do what they do. It'll be interesting as they seem to think they have it going on, play, quote-unquote, the toughest part of their schedule. Some people in the West say not so fast, but we'll see what that looks like. Let me see what my partners say, the visiting professors are in the house. I'm going to go to BJ Jones first in total poll ranking. No, I'm going to be really good. BJ's come on here several times. I'm going to go to the newest professor on the roster. G. Anthony, tell me what you think about my major division top 10.
Man, it's been a long time since we've had a poll without North Carolina A&T and Southern in the poll. It's been a long time. So there's something shocking to see. You know, it's kind of hard to see a poll without Southern and North Carolina A&T in it. So that's something new on it. My Braves steady chopping on up the poll. I like to see that. You know, I agree with us being 5 for right now, just for right now. I agree with us being 5. I think we'll be turning that corner, playing better and better every week. And also agree with Jackson State being 1. You can't really argue with that. But I think gonna be some changes coming up soon. But right now
he just saying. You're not saying, but just saying, huh? Hey, let me go to you, BJ Jones, as I teased you and now I made you wait a little bit. Now I got you sauced up. Tell me what you think about the major division poll rank.
Hey, Jackson State deserves that one spot. If you look at the way that they've been playing since that loss to La Monroe, they've been solid. We know what they're able to do defensively, but offensively, if you look at their offensive output, it's looked a lot better. So I definitely have them there. I have Prairie View also in the 2 spot. And the Panthers did what they needed to do. They came to Baton Rouge and they laid the smackdown. And that's not something that's easy to do coming into Mumford Stadium. I don't care how down Southern is, and to beat them by 21 plus points. That was impressive. Like George said, Alcorn at 5. I think Alcorn's best football is still ahead of them. I think Felix Harper has been inconsistent during the year. Their running game has been the saving grace, and their defense has played solid. We'll see what the Braves are able to do coming down the stretch. They get, number 1 Jackson State coming down the stretch. They get Southern this weekend. So we'll see exactly who Alcorn is these next couple of weeks.
Great points made by both of you all. I see what you're doing. Let me go to Professor Washington. Mike, what do you say about the major division poll rankings? I know you.
First of all, nothing wrong with your poll. Nothing. You hit it on the nail with the poll. You rarely hear me say that, but yeah, you had the poll. You had the poll right. Now, I will say again, Alcorn State. They started off the year, lost, MEAC SWAC challenge. Everybody's walking off the cliff. I said, relax. Remember, this team looked sluggish. They looked out of shape. They were cramping in that game. Now they have some practices under their belt. They have some games under their belt. They still have the meat of their schedule coming where they got to go against Southern and Jackson State. But this is a whole different Alcorn State team that we saw at the SWAC MEAC challenge. So look out for they're sneakily coming up in the polls, and to watch that running game that they have, that running attack that they have. So Prairie View, they are who we thought they are. That defense is coming along for the ride, and Jackson State definitely deserves to be number 1 without question. They probably will march through the rest of the East and somehow end up with home field advantage in the SWAC championship. God forbid. So all the SWAC heads will descend upon Jackson, Mississippi if things don't change. But again, watch out for Alcorn. Please watch out for Alcorn. I said this after the SWAC MEAC challenge. This team is not done yet, and they are content. It's a steady incline.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Next 2 weeks will show a lot for the Braves. They get a chance to make a major statement. They get one on the road while Southern may be down a little bit. That's a rivalry. So they're going to come to play. So, and it's still in Baton Rouge. And then you got Prairie View coming to town. It'll be fascinating to see over the last 2 weeks that top 5 matchup that is looking ever so close. In a lot of ways, it may be for the Western Division. We'll see what that looks like. With that being said, stick with me. We'll be right back after this break. We'll get into a little bit of the mid-major games of the week and then really get what everybody wants to talk about, the major game of the week, give you some headlines to talk about the rest of the week, because we will go into that Southern game against Alcorn, as they say. That should be interesting. Stick with us right back after this break.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Cavil's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We're back as we get a little more into this. I want to give a shout out to White Moore. He says, what? They didn't say nothing wrong with your poll. Did he say nothing wrong with the poll? With your poll? That's right. That's right. White Moore, he got it right this time. I tell you, let him know. We are here with G. Anthony, BJ Jones, and none other than Mike Washington, Professor Washington. Let's get into the CIAA Mid-Major Division game of the week. Livingston Blue Bears 1-6, 1-3. They snuck out a win not too long ago, so they certainly won't be winless. But now they face the music. Number 4, Fayetteville State Broncos, 6-1, 5-0. Probably one of the better teams out there that doesn't get a lot of love, but that's because they're in the conference with none other than Bowie State. It is what it is until they get over that hurdle. Looks like they're on a collision course. Can they do it this year? And we also had the SIAC game of the week. This is a top 10 matchup. Number 7, Fort Valley State Wildcats, 5-3, 3-1 at number 3, Savannah State, or I should say number 5, Savannah State, excuse me. 6-2, 4-1. This is for Fort Valley to be able to stay in the race and make that Albany game mean something for the division. So that's why I think this is interesting. Can Savannah State bounce back? You know, they got shut out. They have a statement at least show that they are reserving to be in the top of that divisional matchup. With that being said, let me stick with you, Mike. What are your thoughts in terms of these two games?
So, first of all, I think the Fayetteville State game, this is about as much discussion we need to have. They number 2 in offense, number 2 or 3 in the defense. They got a running back for Fayetteville State, Dashell Jeton or whatever, who's playing really well. So you look at it, you know, it is the South is theirs to lose. And unfortunately, they end up doing that just about every other year or every year is they end up winning the South, but they get to the championship game and something happens. So, but I look for Fayetteville State to come across this game. Now, Fort Valley State against Savannah State will be very interesting because a lot of folks thought that Savannah State was stronger than that. That will be a good game. Oh, by the way, let the local boys be humming at the tailgates because that's low country boil territory. So, but have Oprah, whatever you want to put in it, that low country boil will be going. But that game will be interesting. Where is it? It's in Savannah, right?
It's in Savannah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in Savannah.
So the question is, how shell shocked is Savannah? Mm-hmm.
It's in Fort Valley.
Fort Valley is coming up. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting game. I don't know if I pick a winner of that.
I've been corrected. It's actually in Fort Valley. So let me.
It's in Fort Valley. Oh, they're gonna have low country boil and catfish. You know they claim of Georgia catfish as well at their tailgates. So that to me makes it even more interesting because you don't know where Savannah State is, at least mentally, from a team standpoint, with that loss, and it was a big loss, and then going on the road to Fort Valley, who's playing strong. So I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Let me shift to G. Anthony. You see that Mike does not want to give Livingston any love, and Fayetteville can lock it up, at least a guaranteed trip to CIAA championship. Obviously, they're playing for their playoff spot too, in case they can get it done all the way out. So what are your thoughts on either of those matchups, either the SIAC, CIAA, or you can talk about both?
I'm going to go with Mike. I don't see Livingston doing too much. I'm with you, Mike. I'm with you. You know, you're the football whisperer, you know. So I'm with you, Mike. I don't see Livingston doing too much. I got Fayetteville easy. And I also have Savannah State. I think Savannah State will come out with it on their mind and have a point to prove what happened last week to them. So I'm gonna roll with old Savannah State going out there and getting the victory next week. Savannah State.
I like that bounce back on the road. That would be a statement.
On the road, yeah.
With that, BJ Jones, where are you going in these two matchups?
Yeah, I think Fayetteville State got past their test in the South with Shaw a couple of weeks ago. I think right now it's smooth sailing. I think over in the SIAC, particularly in the SIAC Eastern Division, if you look at that division, you got Albany State right now sitting unbeaten 4-0 in the conference. But then you got Savannah State, Fort Valley, and Morehouse all with one loss. These games are going to be important over these next couple of weeks. I like Savannah State to bounce back to get the win. But if you're Fort Valley, this is one that you have to have. You want that Fountain City Classic to mean something more than just bragging rights. Yep. And in order for that to happen, you got to beat Savannah State on Saturday.
Point well taken. I like that. This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We're going to take our third and final break before we get in the fourth quarter. We teased it out a little bit. We're going to come back with some of that MEAC game of the week. We'll look at South Carolina State on the road at North Carolina A&T, and then we're going to get into Alcorn State Braves traveling to Southern Jaguars in Baton Rouge. We'll see that in terms of MEAC SWAC game of the week. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington. Charles Bishop is out on assignment, but we have none other than Professor, Adjunct Professor, if you would, G. Anthony. We got the visiting Professor BJ Jones getting it done with us in the house. We're going to get into it. I did want to give a shout out to Jamie Walker. He said Hampton does deserve some consideration. I agree with you. If I went down the list in terms of receiving votes, they would be sitting at the 12th spot, if you would, to have 4 points. So they are right out of there getting some love. Depending on what happens this weekend and what they do, they can find a way to actually get in the top 10. A lot of things that happen. I told you those bottom spots in that major division poll can change on a flip of a dime, as we say, week to week. And we'll see what that looks like. But let's get into the MEAC major division game of the week this week. You have number 9, South Carolina State Bulldogs at 3-4, 2-0, as they seem to have righted the ship just in time for conference play at North Carolina Central Eagles, 3-4, 1-0. I'm going to go to G. Anthony, if he would, and ask him his thoughts on this MEAC matchup. What do you see going on here?
I really like the way North Carolina Central quarterback been playing, Richard. He's been playing pretty good. So I got them. Some may call this an upset, but I got them shocking South Carolina State this week.
I like where you're going.
Yeah, he coming off player of the week last week. I think he's gonna keep that rolling and get another big win this week. So I got North Carolina Central beating South Carolina State down there this week.
Man, you surprising some people, but I like the way you think where you're going. South Carolina State still is struggling. They only put up 13 points against Delaware State. Yeah. And now Delaware State has been solid on the defense, but I'm not sure that much defense there. But North Carolina Central, as I've heard, they're also getting a little healthy. They're getting some players back. So we'll see if it's enough for them to make that move. I see BJ Jones shaking his head a little bit, so I'm going to go to him and see his thoughts in terms of this MEAC game of the week. It is in Eagle Country.
Interesting. Yeah, look, Richard has been playing well, played well last week, but Jacoby Durant is on that other side of the football for South Carolina State. And that's a young man that you want to avoid. I like South Carolina State to get it done. And particularly when you look at these MEAC standings, you got 3 teams that are still unbeaten in conference: Norfolk, South Carolina State, North Carolina Central. And Howard has the 1 loss. Delaware State has the 1 loss. So right now, technically, everyone's still in it outside of Morgan State. It's going to be interesting to see how these games come down the stretch. And I think that this is one of those key games that we're going to look at. But I think South Carolina State is going to be a little bit too much for them. I like South Carolina State to win this one close in Durham.
Mike, I'm going to go to you and see if you'll split the decision. We got Professor Anthony, Professor Jones saying they're going to split. One says South Carolina State. The other one says North Carolina Central Eagles. Professor Washington, what do you say right now?
Yeah, I got to go with South Carolina State. I got to go with the Bulldogs. So, number one, I think it was BJ who said, you have a couple of teams that are still undefeated: Norfolk State, South Carolina State, and I believe Central. But Central is like number 5 in scoring offense. They're scoring 18 points a game, whereas South Carolina State, they're averaging 25 points a game. You look at rushing offense. Who's number one? Norfolk State. Who's next? South Carolina State. Where in defense is North Carolina Central? They're not at the top of the list. So statistically, it measures up for a South Carolina State win. I think they pull it together. I do think that North Carolina Central plays quiet, steady play, and if they play with no mistakes, they make this a close game. But I look for South Carolina State to pull this one out.
Interesting. So we got 2 for South Carolina State, 1 for North Carolina Central Eagles. We'll put a pin in it. We'll check back next week. With that being said, Stephen J. Gaither snuck in here. He said Alabama A&M was overrated. Ooh, he says that before the Magic City Classic. We shall see. We'll talk about the Magic City Classic on Thursday. We'll get into that as a classic matchup as we get into it. We'll save a little bit about that. But with that being said, what a lot of people want to know about is this game in Baton Rouge. A.W. Mumford Stadium is the site and place to be again. It's the star on the map. We saw it last week for homecoming against Prairie View. Now we got another top 5 team coming into Baton Rouge, if you would. What's going to happen here? Number 5, Alcorn State Braves, 5-2, 4-0 at Southern Jaguars, 3-4, 2-2. I'm going to save the 2 gentlemen that have a little stake in this last. So I'm going to go to you, Mike, first. Tell me, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Man, remember Antonio Tarver was fighting Roy Jones Jr. And there was one match at the beginning, he said, "What's your excuse now, Roy?" So one of these teams is going to say, "What's your excuse?" So coming off a loss at home, homecoming, you got Alcorn State, okay, had an early season loss, slowly creeping up. Now they're at the part of their season where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. They got Southern, Then they're going to have Jackson State. They'll have Prairie View. So, what's your excuse? If you really want to legitimately stake your claim as the number one team or as a top contender, here is where you really start in Southern, in A.W. Mumford Stadium. Oh, by the way, Alcorn State has number 3 rushing offense in the SWAC. They're number 4 in defense, but who are they behind? Jackson State, FAMU, and Prairie View. Who's number 1 in rushing? Wait for it. Even with the loss, it's still Southern University. So they still have a strong rushing attack. So can Alcorn muster it up and stop this rushing attack for Southern? Again, you're in hostile territory. So I think Southern has figured out a wrinkle with Ladarius Skelton in that little decoy that they do with him. So what can they do? Can this Alcorn State defense travel on the road and get the job done? I
think Mike is leaning somewhere. We're not gonna let him give his pick. We're gonna save that to Thursday when we do our mask on, mask off. These other gentlemen are not scheduled to be here on Thursday, so we're gonna let them get into it and tell their pick on the show right now. I'm going to go to G. Anthony and see what he says about this matchup. They've had Southern number. Does it continue? Does he agree with Mike that they can run on the ball, or what does you have to say, G. Anthony?
But I think Southern took a tough loss last week, and a lot of people are thinking that this is going to be a blowout. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. Even Alcorn, I think we have a tendency to kind of look over teams when we're scheduled to beat them. Historically, we kind of looked over teams. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think styles make fights. I think Southern being able to run the ball and kind of get some problems. But I also think we're kind of coming into our own. And this time of the year is good that we have championship players. I was telling the guy the other day that since 2014, every single player that we've signed has played for a championship every single year of their career. So I think this time of the year that helps us. I think the guys will be locked in. I think we pull out a victory late against Southern. I think we pull away late, is what I'm saying. But I don't think it'll be a blowout like most people think, because it's going to be rocking. A.W. Mumford is a hard place to play. So, but I do think we're going there and get the victory, but I think it's going to be tough.
Man, well points. I like where you're going with that great analysis. Let's go to the football whispers. They call him BJ Jones. He is the analytics, and he's going to tell you what he feels in this case.
Hey, the biggest thing,
come in and make a statement and try to match to some degree what Prairie View did, or is this just a entirely different game and they just try to get out? Much like G. Anthony said, is that type of matchup. Who cares? Let's get out with a win, 1 point. It doesn't matter. What do you say?
At this point for Alcorn, it's survive and advance. Style points mean nothing. The biggest thing is going in and get a win. I think this thing is going to be highly contested. If you look at Alcorn offensively, Felix Harper hasn't looked like Felix Harper. We talked about how well him and Akil Glass would play this year, and to be honest, neither has played up to those levels of expectation. I think for Alcorn, what's been the saving grace for them has really been that running game and really getting that up to speed. It's going to be an interesting ball game. What does Southern look like offensively? You saw offense that was basically stuck in the mud on Saturday night against Prairie View, and the defense had played good for a half, and then after that, they were lit up like a Christmas tree. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Saturday. I think that this is a classic Southern Alcorn matchup. I think that it's a close matchup. Being honest with you, I like Alcorn to pull it out because they have so much riding on it. And what you hope right now as a Southern fans, as a Southern fan, Jaguar Nation, you hope that these guys haven't mailed it in. You know, your hopes at a conference title are pretty much dashed at this particular point. But what you can do is play with some pride, and you may not go to the party, but you can stop Alcorn from going. And that's been the team that has stood in your way from a championship in 2018 and 2019. You can pay them one back. You can revoke their party access if you can get a win on Saturday night.
He said revoke the party access. Nice. G. Anthony, before we get out of here, tell everybody how they can catch up with you.
I'm on Swacking the Food. Look it up on YouTube, Swacking the Food podcast. I'm on Twitter, same thing, Swacking the Food. Also got a Facebook page, Swag and Food. So hit me up on there, like, share, subscribe. We just dropped the episode that came out yesterday. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Thanks for having me on today. I love it.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Great job. Anytime. Good part. I'm glad that y'all held serve and y'all didn't get crazy with each other. I knew y'all gonna get a chance to do that, but y'all did well. Y'all.
Oh man, that's my boy there, man. That's my boy there.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know y'all get along. That's why we brought it on it, because y'all really would do it like we like to do, is bring the facts, bring the information, and bring the noise. So I appreciate the fact that you're able to do that. Let me go to you, BJ Jones. How do folks catch up with you?
You can find me on Twitter at Inside HBCU F-Ball, Facebook Inside HBCU Football. You can check me out right here at the Black College Sports Network on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You can also catch me on Sunday mornings with Dr. Cavil and the crew. Like I said, man, make sure you're following us here at the Black College Sports Network. You can see me at a multitude of different places. So make sure you're following, and I'm glad to have your support.
No doubt about it. Mike, how can they catch you in other spots as well?
Well, so of course you can catch me on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Dr. Cavil, Charles Bishop. Pleasure to work with G. Anthony and BJ Jones, aka the HBCU Whisperer. You can also catch me on 1876 Sports and Culture, bringing you the latest in Prairie View athletics and culture. And that's every Tuesday. That show drops every Tuesday. So look for us there as well. You can also catch me at Mike Wash 88 or 1876 Sports on Twitter and Instagram. So look for you. Love you. Thanks for your support. Man, thanks for it. Another show. Thanks, BJ. Thanks, G. Anthony. I appreciate it. Minus the damn Braves hat.
Let's get
hey,
it.
Well, that first pitch, you're getting ready. We're getting ready in about 5 minutes for that first pitch.
5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watts. Charles Bishop joining me today was none other than G. Anthony and BJ Jones. We hope you enjoyed. Again, we thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watts and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. Sunday at 9 o'clock. We look forward to the next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's Dr. KENYATTA Again, it's Dr. KENYATTA Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter. That's Facebook and YouTube. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Like, subscribe. Tell your friends. Get the numbers up. We need them. As we get ready for our quiz, we say dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. G. Anthony?
Thank y'all for having me.
BJ Jones?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
Dismissed.